Retards are pulling bitches. Why shouldn't you? Now, we all know the stereotype of the jock getting all the bitches, and then like the nerdy guy who's actually like intelligent, makes kind of logical decisions. Why is he not pulling them? The jock who gets F in all of his exams, he's pulling all the bitches because he's a retard. That's the simplest answer I can give you. He's a fucking retard. All high school jocks are fucking retards. Every retarded person you know is probably pulling more bitches than you, even if they're kind of disgusting looking. Like, these people who like vape, like they're kind of like really disgusting. Like, they kind of look repulsive, but they still pull bitches. Like, these bitches obviously complete like 2 out of 10s, right? But they still pulling bitches, and you're not. It's because you're intelligent. Don't flatter yourself now. I'm not complimenting you when I'm saying you're intelligent. What do I mean by retards and intelligent people? I mean masculine people and, well, not masculine people, more feminine. The thing is, being dumb and having a lower IQ actually correlates with how much testosterone you have. You can definitely be really smart and have a lot of testosterone, but we've seen trends. You've probably seen this on like TikTok or Insta, where it was like a graph, and basically the higher your IQ was, the lower. I imagine this is it's the other way around for you guys. So this is the y-axis. This is your intelligence, your IQ, and this is how much testosterone you have. So you have a really high IQ when you have low testosterone, and it basically kind of goes down like this to where your IQ is pretty low, but you have a lot of testosterone. That's the general, basically the average of men, right? This is basically the graph. This is your intelligence. This is your testosterone. The more testosterone you have, the less intelligent you are. The more intelligent you are, the less testosterone you have, right? What does testosterone have to do with this? You probably know that testosterone makes you more confident. We all heard positive stuff about testosterone. Testosterone makes you more confident and just generally more masculine. And that's what women look in men. This is what they look for in men. Masculine. The more masculine you are, it doesn't matter what type of personality you has, the more masculine you are, the more bitches you will pull. Now let's take an example of the most masculine person, okay? I'm not going to say like a person, I'm just going to describe it. The most masculine person basically has the biggest balls, right? He has the biggest balls. I want you to imagine this. So imagine this is being masculine, this side, and the intelligence level. And he's 100% masculine, but he basically is dumb as shit, right? But the thing is, because he's dumb, that makes his balls basically bigger because he makes dumb decisions. Completely masculine people are criminals. People who murder, rape, and commit crime because they basically have the balls to do it. Someone with slightly more intelligence would say, okay, I'm a masculine person, but I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm not going to go to prison. Sure, that person might be masculine, but he's probably only like 80% masculine and he's like 20% intelligence, right? And then the more risks you basically don't take, the more intelligent you are in a way that you're basically safe. You play it safe. You're playing the safe game. We're not taking any risks. And obviously the bigger balls you have, that's basically the term. Grow some balls. Talk to the woman. Grow some balls. Stand up for yourself. That's basically taking risks, right? But most people don't take risks in the way that they're intelligent, trying to keep themselves safe. This is basically how our brains are wired. We're wired to survive and keep ourselves safe. We're wired to keep ourselves safe, right? But the people who take more risks are more masculine because they have the bigger balls. And that's what women look for. It's because, as I said, this is why I mentioned testosterone earlier. Basically, if we're looking at this as a complete bro science, right? Complete bro science, like in primal days, what did women, back in the primal days, there was no such thing as money, like real like intelligence or like qualifications. There was just how strong you were, right? It was just if you were the alpha, basically the alpha male. In the wild, you've probably seen this in like documentaries where the men fight over the woman, and they're like, for example, like sheep. To basically win over the female, they like bash each other's head against each other, like they go and ram into them, and the male who wins gets the woman. It's because the male who wins, well, most likely has more testosterone, because basically the symptoms of testosterone is like being more aggressive, just having bigger balls, right? Just having more confidence, bigger balls, and that's what women look for. Or the female sex. It's because the higher your testosterone, the most likely the higher, basically the stronger your sperm are. Of course, if you take steroids, your testosterone is high, but your balls are shrinking, and then you probably are unfertile, right? But assume you're natural and shit, and you have high testosterone, that most likely means your sperm is all like stronger as well, most likely. So that's basically what women look for, to have healthy children. They look for a man who has high testosterone, he has bigger balls, so he has healthy sperm, healthy kids, strong kids. That's basically the primal urge. We haven't escaped this primal urge, right? So this is why, like, the stereotype of the jock pulling the cheerleader captain, whatever you call him, and then the nerd who has like a lot of intelligence, like, he aces his exams, he's a teacher's pet. This is why he's a fucking awkward. This is why he jerks off in his bed. And he jerks off not to women but anime girls, right? Fucking drawings. Excuse me. Thing is, you just need to be kind of retarded. You need to be retarded to pull women. Not in the sense where you're just making like, okay, you're just kind of retarded. No, not in that sense, but in the sense that you have bigger balls to kind of overshadow your intelligence. So, okay, take a situation. A guy picks a fight with you. You're in a bar, he bumps into you, and he's like, hey, you bumped into me. The intelligent person would say, like, he would take the control of the situation, right? He would say, oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not trying to get into trouble. Are you okay? And then the drunk guy will most likely calm down. But the guy with bigger balls would stand up for himself. And he's like, bro, I didn't bump into you. I was just sitting here. And then they'll get in a fight, and then they'll bash each other's heads in. Tell me, which guy is going to pull the bitch? The guy who basically calmed the drunk guy down, or the guy who beat the other guy? Yes, the guy who beat the guy up, because they had bigger balls, more testosterone, healthy sperm. This is why basically the retards, the guys who don't, like, they kind of don't have a thought in their head, they're kind of just sitting there like, butterfly. They have no thoughts in their head. They're completely present. They're just kind of like trying to just understand what the fuck is going on right in this moment. And, they have a lot of pride as well. So when the guy bumps or says, why did you bump into me, you bitch? He's going to stand up for himself and he's going to beat him up. Or even if he doesn't get beat him up and he gets beat up, most likely, well, I don't know, he would still have a higher chance than the guy who played it safe to get the bitch. Most likely the guy who beat him up is going to get, the bitch. Because he basically showed that his testosterone was higher, because he was stronger, and he beat him, basically. So that the guy who beat him up, the drunk guy, is going to pull the bitch. But that, yeah, obviously. Still, the guy who got beat up is still going to have a bigger chance, or a higher chance, to pull bitches. So, this is probably the question you're asking right now. How the fuck do I get retarded? How do I shut off my brain and not ask anything? And that's the thing. There's no way to do this. There's no way to shut off your brain and start thinking of the consequences of what you're about to do. So imagine the situation, you're You're standing on a bus stop. You're standing at the bus stop, right? And you see a beautiful, it's like, she's like a 10 out of 10. She's like fat ass, tits, beautiful face, beautiful figure, and basically she just looks, 10 out of 10 in your eyes. There's going to be a lot of thoughts going in your head. First of all, you're going to be horny as fuck. But then the question always pops up in our head, even if you're a bitch. Should I talk to her? And that's when you stop thinking. Sure, you're gonna think. Obviously, we can't completely stop thinking. But we can stop getting lost in the thoughts. In the sense where we ask ourselves, should I approach a woman? That's when you just kind of start moving. So you just command your legs to start taking steps towards the woman. And then once you're at the woman and the woman sees you, you command your mouth and your tongue to form a word. And you say, hello. And she's like, hi. And then you command your mouth. You're not thinking, okay? Your mind's probably thinking, oh, fuck, what the fuck is going on? Oh, fuck, I'm so scared. But you're not listening. That's the thing. You cannot stop thinking, but you can control if you listen to your thoughts. That's the thing you can control. So you're thinking like all in your mind, but you're not listening to your thoughts. You can hear your thoughts, but you're ignoring them. So you go to the woman, you command your mouth and your tongue to form a word. Hello. And she's like, hi. And then you say, oh, I think you're really beautiful. Can I get your number? And obviously, maybe it's your first time, and she might say, no, kind of creepy, because probably the first time you're fucking like shaking and shit. You're like, when you're walking up to her, you're like, ugh. Of course that's normal. Obviously, I didn't do that when the first time I did that. So I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, hi. This is basically in a club, so I was drunk as well. And I was like, how are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm doing fine. Come dance. And he's like, alright. I literally at first I said, come dance, and I basically grabbed her hand, and she was kind of hesitated at first, but then she came and danced, and obviously after that, it was still my first cold approach. I was fucking shaking already. Not shaking, but I was like, my mind was like, going overdrive. So I didn't basically escalate from there where we danced a bit, and I kind of just, because I kind of realized she was chopped. Not chopped, but she was mid. I was like, really? Do I want to do this? Is it worth that? I was like, bro, I just said I was going to the bathroom, and I kind of just didn't talk to her after that. So that was basically my first cold approach, right? Well, not cold approach, I was kind of a warmer approach, but that's another video. It's a topic for another video. But I approached a woman, and you could see there, I had balls. I wasn't fearful, and you could say even intelligent enough to realize the consequences. Me grabbing her hand, me talking to her. I didn't think, oh, she gonna scream, she gonna do some weird shit. It's because I had balls, and that's the thing. That's what women look for. They look for big balls. Bigger balls, more bitches you'll pull. So when I grabbed her hand and said, we're gonna go, I didn't even ask her, would you care to give me the chance to take this dance with you? No, we're not in the 1800s. I grabbed her hand, I was like, come dance. She came. Balls, that's what balls are. You're not, that's the thing. Balls, just approaching women doesn't give you a big girthy set of balls, right? There's a lot of things, like taking risks in your career, like me recording and sacrificing an education. Sacrificing a secure job, secure position, decent money, to live life somewhat decently, like. But I have the balls, I have such big girthy balls so that I basically take the chance, record this video, upload, and hopefully I'll fucking become successful and become the best self-improvement YouTuber or content creator in my generation. That's my big ass goal. I'm going to become the best self-improvement creator of this generation. That's a promise. So I have big girthy balls to say that. But I know people with good big girthy balls who take a lot of risks, but they still can't pull bitches. Because what I like to think of this is, you know the way we have two testicles, right? I like to think of it as we have like three testicles. It's three testicles. So basically, first testicle is taking risks in like your fitness and like your physique. Well, not taking risks, but you shut your brain off and you don't think about the pain and basically the energy it takes to get a good physique. And then the second ball is taking risks in your career. Well, the second testicle is taking risks in your career, and then the third testicle is taking risks with women. So let's say you take a risk. Well, not a risk really. It's not really. You're not risking yourself if you go try and better your physique, but you're going and enduring the pain and the energy that it takes to get a good physique. So that's basically 30. That's basically a third of your testicles, right? So that's one testicle, and then you take a risk saying, okay, I want to become a content creator. Fuck the secure job. Fuck the education. I want to become a content creator. There you go. You got your second testicle. The third testicle is basically women, right? So you're not carding away. You're not a card, and you go up to the woman. If you see a woman, you think she's really attractive. You go up to the woman. You basically command your mouth to form a syllable, and then form a word, and then form a sentence, and then respond to her answer. Basically command you stop thinking, well, in the sense that obviously you're still thinking, you can still hear her thoughts, but you don't listen to her thoughts. It's like ignoring your annoying friend. Imagine your basically negative thoughts on your nervous thoughts as your annoying friend. Sometimes you can't even be bothered to answer anymore. That's basically what you have to imagine here. You can't be bothered to answer basically the annoying friend, which is your thoughts. And then you go to a woman and you command your legs. First of all, you have to command your legs to walk over. Then, depending on the situation, command your hand to tap on her shoulder, or command your mouth to form a syllable, saying hello, hi, what's up, whatever. Just command your mouth to spit out a word. And that's basically practice from there on out, right? It's not just, obviously, most like your first cold approach isn't going to go that well. She'll probably think you're creepy because you're probably stuttering and shit. Because you're thinking about speaking words. You're thinking about speaking, right? No one really thinks about speaking. You kind of just speak. Obviously, when you're older and you know how to speak and form syllables. But now you're thinking about speaking. So you're saying like, you go to the one, you say, you tap on the shoulder, and she turns around and you say, hello. And you're thinking about speaking, and then she says, oh, whoa, how can I help you, or whatever. I think you're beautiful. I think you're beautiful. Can I get your number? She's probably going to be creeped out by that. It doesn't matter because you fucking have the balls. You have the balls. You're 5% on the way to getting the third testicle. The third testicle. That's what you need to do. Practice. Go up to a woman. The next time you see a woman, don't give yourself an excuse saying, "Oh, she's in the bus. It's gonna be awkward. Because I'm on the bus as well. What if she doesn't get out? And it's basically gonna be awkward after I talk to her because stop thinking. Stop thinking. As I said, oh no, but she's friends with this girl, and then she's friends with her, and she's like, and then this will like, stop thinking. As I said, you still hear your thoughts, but you don't listen. You ignore them. Oh, but she looks like she's busy. Okay, let's create a contrary argument to each one of these thoughts. She's in the bus. Well, you can just get out. Sure, you'll have to wait 30 minutes, but that's your first cold approach. Wasting 30 minutes to wait for the next bus. is better than not approaching a girl. So you go approach a girl, and she's like, and you're like, first of all, you say hi, and then whatever happens, you still approach your girl. It's still your first cold approach. So you get out of the bus, you wait 30 minutes. I would sacrifice those 30 minutes to, obviously if it's my first cold approach, to talk to that woman. And then, what was the other one? She knows, she's the friend of the friend of the friend. Who gives a shit? When has gossip really affect your life? People might laugh at you if you, like, assuming you fuck up. People might laugh at you for like a second, and then they'll forget about it. That's what people do. They laugh at a person because they did something, and then they forget. That's basically what happens. And then the third one, what was the third one? She looks busy. You don't actually know if she's busy. You don't know if she's busy. Go talk to her. If she says she's busy, then she's busy. Then you get out of there. Or you literally cut to the chase and say, can I get your number? And she'll look you up and down, and then she'll give you her evaluation and say no or yes, right? Yes or no. That's it. That's how you pull bitches, bro. You just need to have bigger balls. Now, as I said, having bigger balls, like, let's say you're like completely 100% masculine. You're a criminal. If you're 100% masculine, you're a fucking criminal. Because the thing is, you don't have intelligence. If you're 100% masculine, you're not intelligent. You're kind of, obviously, a retard. So, when someone in the bar goes up and bumps into you, and then you start an argument, you're going to beat them up. And then possibly get arrested. And then you're going to try... You're just going to be dumb shit, and then your life is still going to be shit. This is why you still need intelligence. I wouldn't say 50-50 split. Then you're just a fucking neutral... Ugh. No one likes a neutral person. I would say like an 80-20 split. To where you have balls, but you kind of know what's happening. With women, you don't use that intelligence. You just, assuming cold approaching, obviously there's going to be the one or two situations where you have to use that intelligence. But in the most part, you just use your balls. And then the guy bumps into you in the bar. And then he starts like saying, oh, what the fuck, you bumped into me, And then you say, bro, I'm sorry, bro. Are you okay? Because we're intelligent enough and we're not going to escalate the situation. Because we're intelligent. Ugh. Unless the man starts obviously taking it way too far, and then you basically try to de-escalate the situation. And then, I don't know, you fucking suddenly hit your wife or hit your girlfriend or something. That's when you step in and get your balls and beat him up. But most likely he's not going to do that. And you're just going to say, bro, I'm sorry. You okay? Did I steal your beer? Next round's on me. Well, obviously not that far. That's just completely card-like behavior, but you know what I mean. Yeah. I hope you learned something.